My name is Jordan Matranga, and I'm here to talk about anxiety and depression. Anxiety and depression is something that a lot of people deal with and don't really like to talk about because it can be kind of awkward, and you don't want people to feel bad for you, and you also don't really want to sound crazy. But it's something that I've dealt with for a really long time, on and off, but it didn't really get hard until I would say about a year ago. It got really hard. Also in middle school it was really hard. So anxiety and depression can kind of come in and out of your life. Some people might just have it for one season. Some people might have it their whole lives. I'm only 18 right now, so I don't really know how long I'll have it. I'm just here to talk about it and to kind of shine a light on it and to bring it out in the light, not to get sympathy or anything like that, but to just share it for people who are also going through it and who don't really maybe want to talk about it because it is kind of a hard subject to talk about. First of all, everyone deals with it very differently. Everyone has different types. Of course, I can't talk about all of those types because I only know what I'm going through, but I hope that whatever I'm going through, whatever I've been through, will help you, whether you're going through one of these things or both of them, or you just know someone who's going through them. First of all, let's talk about anxiety. Anxiety sucks. It is, for me at least, it is racing thoughts. It's kind of feeling paranoid, feeling fearful. It can get in the way a lot. I try to not let it get in the way, but if you have anxiety, you know that it can just come at random times, and it can come for the smallest things or the biggest things, like driving a car. That can really suck sometimes. It's really scary, and you think about all the fears of driving a car. You think about what could happen to you when you get in a car, and it sucks. You just want to be able to enjoy a nice car ride, and you can't because you're thinking about all these terrible things that can happen to you, and that's just one little part of anxiety. Another is walking into a room full of people. That can be completely overwhelming for anyone, but especially if you have anxiety, it can just be overwhelming in the way that you're thinking, what are they thinking of me? Why are they looking at me? Why aren't they acknowledging me? Why is this happening? Why is this happening? And just all these questions are racing through your mind, and you don't necessarily want to walk in anywhere because it's just like too much to handle sometimes. What I would say for that is to just start small. Some days I can walk somewhere with no problem, and the issue isn't walking in somewhere when you have a group of people with you. It's walking in somewhere when you're all alone, and that can be really tough. What I try to do is talk through it with someone, like my family or my friends, and they'll either just encourage me or they'll just say, hey, that's not what people are thinking. You know, like whenever you're sitting in a place, do you assess every single person that walks in? No. And if you do, then okay, but not everyone does. So it's just kind of thinking about it from someone else's point of view and knowing that your point of view is not reality. Even though it is your perception and it's your reality, it's not the reality of everyone's life, and that can really, really help. I think it was in a blog that I read. Someone said that what they do to help them with anxiety is they will talk through some of their fears with someone, and it helps because you talk through it all the way. So like if I was doing the thing like, I don't want to walk into Starbucks, and someone would say, well, why don't you want to walk into Starbucks? Well, I'm afraid that when I walk in, everyone's going to be staring at me. So what if everyone stares at you? Well, then I don't know what I'll do. I'll feel awkward. I'll want to run out. So what if you run out? Well, then they'll be wondering why I ran out, and I'll be embarrassed. So what if you're embarrassed? I'm embarrassed. Like, if you can just talk through it, that actually helps me, just because I'm like, okay, I'll be embarrassed, even though those things probably won't happen. If they do, I'll be embarrassed and I'll walk out, but it's okay. At the end of the day, I know that I still have people that love me out there, and those people don't really know anything about me, and embarrassments can just be a part of life, and they are. So it's kind of learning how to laugh at those things, but only sometimes you can really laugh at those things. Only sometimes they can turn into funny situations. other times with anxiety, it just feels very real and it's very hard to get through the day or to go somewhere or to do something that you really want to do. The next thing I'm going to talk about is depression. Being depressed feels like being unmotivated to do even the littlest things, especially to do the big things. Feeling tired, feeling sad. And when sad things happen on top of depression, it can be very, very hard to get out of it. It can be very hard to pick yourself back up and start your day or continue your day. Whenever people are going through the depression, they want to isolate themselves, which can be good to an extent because sometimes you just need time to yourself and you need to just cry it out, or maybe write in a journal, or maybe just think a little bit. But I would encourage you not to isolate yourself too much, because you're going to think that you're going to expand your thoughts, you're going to expand everything that you're going through, and there's no way out of that hole when you're by yourself. But when you're with someone else, they can help pick you up, whether it's a parent, a grandparent, a friend, a cousin. If you're in a place where you just really don't want to talk to anyone, maybe watch some encouraging videos. I really like to watch Steven Furtick's sermons because they just really help me. He's really funny, he's really good, he's well paced when he speaks. Sometimes I'll just have to I'll just watch videos about kids talking about life because it's just funny, it makes me feel better. Or I'll even look up videos that help people with depression and anxiety or whatever it is. I remember just talking to my mom whenever I didn't really realize this is what I was going through, and I told her, Mom, I can't even clean my room. That just seems like the biggest thing in the world to me. And I was just telling her that I just don't feel good, I just always feel sad and I don't understand why. And she said, well, maybe you could go on a walk, and if you start getting some exercise, if you start exercising a little more, that might help you feel better. And that's also just in part because my mom knows me and she knows that when I do get exercise and stuff, I feel better. But I was telling her, I can't even get myself to go on a walk, and I was just crying because I was like, it's so frustrating. I can't even get myself to do anything. And let's say I were to do one of those things, I were to force myself to do one of those things, you don't really get, it doesn't have the same effect because you're going through it but you're dreading it the whole time you're doing it. When you force someone to do something that they're not in the right mind to do, it doesn't always help, because if they're dreading it while they're going through it, afterwards it's going to be even more upsetting and it's just going to make things worse. So you can't always just make yourself do something. You sometimes do have to wait for yourself to get in the right mind or to get a little bit of motivation to be able to do something. Once I talked to my mom, figured out that what I'm going through is most likely depression, I went to a psychiatrist and I started on a low dosage of medicines, and we just went through different ones. They take a while to kick in and to start working. I would definitely recommend going to a psychiatrist and starting on medicine because it helps so much. It does take time to kick in and to start working, but it helps so much because sometimes depression can also be a chemical thing in your brain, or it can be passed down from family members. The first time that I took it, I just remember feeling happy and feeling a little bit more of myself, just feeling more motivated to do things. I could finally clean my room, I could finally make myself go on a walk, and it was just a little bit of light shining. With anxiety, you can also take medicine for that. There's some medicines that help both depression and anxiety. The hard thing about that is sometimes you'll find a medicine that helps your depression and anxiety, but the symptoms can be very tough. In one instance, the symptoms to one of my medicines caused me to gain weight in a very short amount of time. The medicine that currently works for me best helps with my depression a lot, but it does not help with my anxiety. I am working to get that changed possibly, but it's hard to keep switching medicines, especially when I'm away at school and this medicine has been treating my depression well, so I'm kind of scared to take a step and try another one just because I've had to try a couple different ones throughout this year. Last semester I did counseling and it helped so much. They all do different things, they all kind of work differently, so if you're going to counseling and it's not really working for you, I would totally suggest getting a new counselor because the counselor that I had she worked at my school last semester, so it was a different school than I'm at now. And she would just, they've gone to school for this, so they understand little things. One thing that she actually really taught me was that when I talk about sad things and things that I'm going through, I smile. But she encouraged me that you're allowed to feel sad, you're allowed to feel angry, you're allowed to feel all these things. And when you cry or when you're upset, people know that you're sad because you're crying, or people know that you're angry because whatever emotion you're conveying. And that just really helped me. So just little things like that. So I would really encourage you to go to counseling, and maybe even if you want to go to a psychiatrist and start on medicine. It helped me so much. Letting a little bit of sunlight in my room can help me feel a little bit happier. Or sometimes going to Zumba or something like that can make me feel good, just because I've always liked dancing, and that's kind of what Zumba is, mixed with exercise. Sometimes it's just talking on the phone with one of my friends, or reading a book, or journaling. Journaling helps me so much. My friends know that I have like drawers and drawers of journals that I've just filled up because they help me so much, but they don't help everyone. Not everyone enjoys that. Some people do art to help them. Some people can just listen to music. The hard thing with music is that whenever it's a song that is sad and you're feeling sad, it can help, but it can also keep you in that state. And it's good to feel what you're feeling, and you should never be afraid to feel what you're feeling, but also you don't want to get stuck in a place where you're feeling that emotion and you can't get out of it. So you just kind of have to be careful with that and just know your boundaries. I didn't make this video to tell you that I figured everything out, or to get sympathy, or to tell you that it all gets better really fast. It does get better, but it's a slow process, and you have to be patient with yourself in the process. And sometimes things are going to work and you're going to feel motivated and you're going to feel encouraged, and sometimes things aren't going to work and you're going to feel down in the dumps. But just know that there are many ways to deal with anxiety and depression, and to not let it control your life. Things have gotten better, and I do feel better. Some days are really hard, and that's just kind of a part of it, and it's also just a part of life. I just want you to know that if you're going through either of these things or both of these things, you are not weird, you are not crazy. Do not let it define your life, even though some days it will, sometimes it will. And those times you might just have to take a step back and just kind of give yourself some grace and just say, it's okay, I'm not weird, I'm not crazy. Make sure you treat it like you would a physical wound, because there are steps that you can take to help yourself and to get healing and to get better. Having a mental disorder for a long time and not treating it can affect your physical being, and it will affect your physical well-being. So do not let it get really bad. Please just take the steps that you need to get better and to feel better and to let your life be bright again. And I hope this video helped some people out, and if you're just having a hard time understanding one of your friends who's going through one of these things, I hope that this helped you out.